close. There it is. 7 o'clock. Call the meeting to order. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Mueller?
Aye.
Mr. Bowman?
Aye.
Ms.
Here.
Kelly? Ms. Kelly is absent.
I hear too.
I hear too.
You
Mr. Beazle?
Here.
Mr. Peterman? Mr. Thompson?
Pledge to the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Excellent. Thank you. I'd like to entertain a motion for approval of last month's meeting, the minutes.
I move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Mueller?
Aye.
Mr. Bowman?
Aye.
Mr. Beazle?
Oh, that's
Absent. Mr. Peterman? Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, this is the point of the meeting for visitors and communications. Do we have any communications?
No.
Okay, if anybody would like to address council, please step up to the microphone, state your name and address, and let us know what you're interested in. Okay.
Dave Fisher, 311 South Thomas Avenue. I'm here opposed to the placing of the medical use facility in the Fort Thomas Plaza. Most retailers in,
Could you excuse me 1 second?
yeah,
We had a public hearing, I'm Jan Seidenbaker.
yeah, sure,
We had a public hearing, I think you spoke at the hearing, if I recall.
yeah,
So what council does is they review the minutes of that hearing,
right,
and they review the recommendation of planning commission,
I understand.
but they don't take new evidence or new testimony or new information.
That's okay. So, what if it's not new?
Additional, I mean, basically and this is not just
I
my role,
understand,
this is.
no, I understand.
So, they're really supposed to base their decision on the record, which has already been established at the two planning commission
Okay.
meetings.
That's okay.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to appear
I mean, you're
rude,
not, absolutely
it's
not
just
at all.
the procedure and the process that we're
Sure.
supposed to follow.
But will it be allowed to be brought up for discussion? Not with me, with amongst
They
themselves?
can discuss it, of
Okay,
course, yes.
Okay, well,
So I apologize,
No,
but,
I'm perfectly fine, that's perfectly fine.
thanks.
Great, thank you. Would anyone else like to address council? Okay, moving right along. Reports of officers, fire department monthly report. Chief Bailey.
Thank you, Mayor Hoss and members of council and Mr. Bill. Monthly report was sent out in your packets, obviously. I really have nothing to add to that. We'll be glad at the end, obviously, as always, to field any questions that you might have. Just 2 things I wanted to bring up. We are just about ready to conclude our promotional process again. Every 2 years, according to contract, we do the promotional list for both lieutenant and captain in the fire department. And again, this year we had 4 candidates each for those 2 positions. We have no openings at this point, but we always establish a list in case we do. We can fall back on that list and utilize it. That will take effect March the 1st of 16 through March the 1st of 18. So again, we had the 4 candidates for lieutenant and the 4 candidates for captain. Just did get back today the oral presentation grading from our testing company, and so I'll be getting with Mr. Dill and then in turn Mayor Hoss to discuss those findings and set that list again and have that in place by March 1st. So just kind of give everybody an update of, again, that process that occurs again every 2 years. And again, just wanted to kind of reiterate and mention, I don't know if I mentioned it before, but again, we have applied for an assistance to firefighter grant again this year for self-contained breathing apparatus, the air packs that we wear on our back. Ours are over 20 years old and again, require a lot of maintenance, basically kind of with even more so outdated per NFPA standards. So, but they obviously do still work, and so obviously we're utilizing those. But we did apply for a grant to try to get 20 new SCBAs. We kind of fine-tuned the grant from last year, so again, I feel a lot more comfortable with it this year. I think it's a lot more, friendly for FEMA to look at and field any questions they need to back to us. So feel very comfortable with that. Lieutenant Webster handled that process and again, did a good job with that grant. And all told, that grant is $163,000 for those SCBA's. So hopefully we can keep our fingers crossed. We'll hear sometime late summer, early fall, when they start giving out those grants. And so hopefully we'll be able to receive one of those this time around. Just a couple things I want to kind of apprise council of where we're at. And again, we'll be glad to field any questions that you all may have in regard to the fire department.
Any questions for the chief? I'll entertain a motion.
Move to receive and file.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Mueller?
Aye.
Mr. Bowman?
Aye.
Mr. Beazle?
Aye.
Mr. Peterman?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Excellent, thank you. Okay, police department monthly report. Chief Daly.
Thank you, Mayor Haas and council members and Mr. Dill. I do not have anything new to pass on from what you have in the January monthly report. However, if you guys have any questions, I'll try to answer them for you.
Any questions for the chief? Not, I entertain a motion again.
Move to receive and file.
Second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Mueller? Mr. Bowman? Mr. Beazle?
Aye.
Mr. Peterman?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
I would make a comment, Mayor. Just for members of the public who might be watching, we get these reports every month, and every month there's an extensive section on training that's reported in this. And I think it's important for people to know that not only do these officers come into this force highly trained and a lot of experience, but they continue to get their updated training. I think that certainly increases public confidence to know that we have a good quality police force that's looking to get better.
Good point. Thanks, Roger. Okay, city administrator's report.
I just have a couple of things to update. On the VA homes, we have a final draft of a revised MOA. We have a final draft of a hazard remediation plan, and we have hopefully closed a final draft of the escrow. So these documents, we have one more meeting set with the developer on the escrow issue. These documents should be forwarded to the VA. It'll probably be a couple of months or so before we hear back from them with any response to that in finality. So that's kind of the timeline of where we are. A couple of other things to report. In the last budget, there were improvements budgeted for the Armory building. Those have been completed. If you've not been to the facility, there's a nice addition of restrooms on the second floor, which might not sound that glamorous, but they were done very nicely, mostly in-house with Greg Mounts and our crew in-house. But operationally and efficiency and safety-wise, those are really important aspects to the way we do operationally there. It has allowed us that, along with securing accesses off the back stairwell and off the front lobby, we're able to control entry in and out of the gymnasium. We're able to allow, it's often been an issue with the whole building being open when we just have open gym. So this allows us to kind of lock down the first floor separately from the second floor. And the restrooms, of course, were an important part of that. Another additional safety aspect was people just entering in and out of a public building without knowing all the access points being controlled. And that's really more for the safety of our people that are working there. There's often times during the day that we have one person in the building, and that's a very large building with a lot of access points. We do have some cameras, but all those things add up to greater efficiency operationally and for safety. So we're really excited that those are completed. And then the only other thing I had is you will see annual reports from department heads beginning in March. So we'll have 2 in March and 2 in April.
Excellent.
Didn't know if there were any other questions, but that's all I have to report.
Any questions? All right, we'll move on to new business, consideration of 2016 street resurfacing program.
Mr. Bowman,
Yes.
if you want to report on the committee.
Do that. I'm going to read this into the record. I'm the chair of that committee. We, the undersigned members of Public Works Committee of Council, hereby report that we've met with the city staff on Tuesday, February 9th, 2016, to review and develop the city's 2016 capital improvements program. While there were many streets considered for improvement, limited available resources restricted the number of streets that could be included in this year's recommended program. The recommended 2016 street improvement program includes the following streets: Barrett Drive, Daisy Lane, Gaddis Drive, Haywood Court, and Winding Way. The streets in this program would be subject to a special assessment to abutting property owners on a 50% city, 50% property owner cost-sharing basis. Revenue from the special assessments to the abutting property owners is estimated to generate $123,250. The capital program will also include geotechnical engineering, design, and construction of 2 sections of pier walls for stabilization of Waterworks Road to facilitate future resurfacing of this road. The engineering and construction of this work is estimated at $110,000. The capital program continues implementation of the city's adopted sidewalk replacement program with the replacement of deteriorated sidewalks, curbs, and driveway aprons along the portions of the recommended streets and other selected streets within the program at an estimated cost of $50,000. The capital program will include reconstruction of the access drive for Highland Park Ball Field. This access drive is proposed to be slightly relocated to connect with the existing improvements and provide emergency maintenance access to the field. The cost of these improvements is estimated at $12,000. The capital program also provides funding for the first phase of a pedestrian safety initiative that will provide enhanced early warning signage markings at crosswalks located within the city's central business districts with an estimated total cost of $20,000, which is really good news, by the way.
Yeah.
Lastly, the capital program budget also reserves adequate contingency funding for emergency repairs to other city-owned infrastructure and miscellaneous expenses. The total estimated cost for the 2016 capital improvement program and related fund activity is $872,000, apportioned as follows: roadway improvements, $246,500; Waterworks Road pier walls, $110,000; sidewalks, $50,000; Highland Park Access Drive, $12,000; crosswalk improvements, $20,000; contingency miscellaneous, $25,000; engineering with CT Consultants is $27,500. Public Works Committee of Council recommends that the Board of Council adopt and approve this committee report and direct the staff to proceed with additional planning and preparation for the 2016 improvement program.
There is a typo in there.
There is.
It's not 870, the total's not 872.
Okay.
The total's 4 something?
Yeah, 400.
That's a heck of a typo.
Yeah,
Wow.
it is.
That was last year's program, my mistake.
It's 4.
I think it's 451. 491.
491.
Yeah.
The numbers are.
Let the finance director figure out the
Never
math.
take
That's
a half
great.
491.
Okay, 491.
My mistake.
All right.
All right.
So with that change in your report,
I just knew it was wrong.
I didn't catch it.
How much, do you have any idea, maybe Jody, how much the state funding was reduced this year from last?
Really not significant. The original estimates were significant. I mean, we're talking 6 figures easily, $100,000 plus. Realistically, probably $50,000 to $75,000 is what I budgeted.
Went from about 400 to 330, I think, something close to that.
Yeah.
I'll entertain a motion. Or do we need a motion for this?
I think your motion is to accept the report.
Accept the
direct
report.
staff.
Would someone like to move that?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion, more discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Muller? Mr. Bowman?
Aye.
Mr. Beazle? Mr. Peterman?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Okay, thank you all. Next item, new business consideration of Planning Commission Resolution R02-2016. Ron, can you
Yeah, I'll just
back
give you a
on
general
that?
overview. The resolution that you have in front of you is forwarded from the Fort Thomas Planning Commission. You heard just slight mention of that. It's in the form of a recommendation for approval to include adult daycare facility as a listed permitted use in the city's general commercial zoning district. The Planning Commission did conduct a public hearing. In fact, they met on 2 occasions. There was a record established based off of their findings. From those meetings, you have a copy of the minutes from the 2 meetings where there was discussion of that. So, as Jan indicated, there's really a couple of alternatives for the council. This comes in the form of recommendation for approval, and including that, so the council could act to accept this resolution. They could also act to deny the resolution, or they could also opt to conduct their own finding through a hearing process, and then take final action on it. Typically, in these cases, our planning commission does that work on behalf of council. That's kind of a form and function of the planning commission, is to conduct the public hearing, to do the fact finding, create the record. That's what you have in front of you here. I guess maybe we should read into the record. We have at least the resolution. We'll read the record, or the resolution into the record, and then staff has prepared a first reading. And then, of course, council would have to do a vote on a second reading for any final action on this. So, if you would be so kind to read the resolution into the record.
Yes.
I just want to make sure. Finding of facts and resolutions number Z02, 2016. A resolution of the Fort Thomas Planning Commission recommending to the Board of Council that the City of Fort Thomas, Kentucky, that the text of the official zoning ordinance of the City of Fort Thomas, Kentucky be amended to include adult daycare facility as listed permitted use in a general commercial zoning district under Article 10 Zone Regulations, Section 10.12, General Commercial Zone, GC, subsection A, uses permitted. Whereas the Fort Thomas Planning Commission initiated a request to amend the text of the official zoning ordinance of the City of Fort Thomas, Kentucky under Article 10, Section 10.12A, and whereas said text amendment will permit adult daycare facilities as a permitted use within general commercial zoning districts, and whereas the Fort Thomas Planning Commission held a public hearing on said text amendment, which was properly advertised and held on Wednesday, December 16th, 2015, and continued on January 20th, 2016, and whereas the Fort Thomas Planning Commission has received and reviewed all exhibits presented, including the proposed text amendment to permitted uses contained in Article 10, Section 10.12A of the official zoning ordinance, and whereas the Fort Thomas Planning Commission hereby makes the following finding. The proposed adult daycare facility fits the guidelines for permitted uses in the general commercial zoning classification. Now therefore be it resolved that the Fort Thomas Planning Commission does hereby find that the amendment to Article 10 be necessary for the integration of adult daycare facilities, and recommends that the Board of Council and the City of Fort Thomas, Kentucky approve and adopt said text amendment identified in Exhibit A attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference.
That attachment, by the way, is further back in your packet, and it really is just the listing of it as a permitted use in that zoning classification is really the only text change.
I, at minimum, would like to have some conversation about this. There's been a whole lot of moving parts that have come to my attention in reference to this plan. And I personally, we just walked in tonight to get the minutes of these meetings, and so nobody has really had time to digest them, let alone all the other moving parts that exist for this. So I would make a recommendation that we not have a first reading tonight until we have some time for due diligence and to look at all the moving parts, because some of the moving parts I've become aware of could vastly change our comprehensive plan even, that we're just now starting to discuss for the 5-year plan. It could, and well, I mean, there's a lot of reasons that this should be up for discussion and not just a blanket approval.
I understand your concern, Ken. I'd still recommend we do the first read because we still have an opportunity to discuss this before the second reading, since we only meet once a month now. And I also would like to remind everybody on council that this is what we have the Planning and Zoning Commission for, and they deliberated on all this and came up with a decision. And it's normally the case of council that we just either accept or deny it. Now, granted, if there's extenuating circumstances, sure, we can absolutely look into that, but I would still recommend that we have the first reading tonight so that we don't delay the process, because that would still give us the opportunity to not have the second reading or to make a change at the next meeting.
I would also caution council that, you know, your review of this should be limited to the minutes and to the record and to the resolution. So it's not something that you should be entertaining comments from the general public or taking extraneous information. Because the concept is, at the planning commission level, the issue was discussed and reviewed and aired, and there were people pro and there were people con. And then your planning commission makes a decision based on that. That's the information upon which their decision was based. And now you're reviewing their minutes and their recommendation. But you're really not gathering your own personal information from the public at this point.
So there's like a court of appeals kind of thing, where we only have to review the record in front of us?
That's good.
That's a good way to put it, I
Yeah,
guess.
it really is.
I agree. Now, we only meet once a month.
So regardless of
So
what
we
we
should be
learn
able
in the
to-
process, I mean, we're the final seal of approval, so regardless of what facts come to us.
The facts should
after-
have come out in the planning commission hearings. That's where everyone has their opportunity to present their information.
Mhm.
It's not designed so that citizens or residents can come to you, because if you think about it, then that doesn't give a proper airing to the issue.
Okay, I mean, this could have great long-term implications if it goes one way or another way, and in my view, from what's come to my attention outside of these minutes, it could be a very positive for the city if we did deliberate further, or
But
refer it
again,
back to committee.
This is a legal process, we gotta listen to our attorney. So you gotta be careful about making statements of getting information outside of this process. That's a flaw in the process and what's legally permitted. I mean, and that could create problems. On that line, we are not the last determining body. They can appeal this, through the judicial system too. So we need to make sure that, our actions are within proper legal limits.
Now, you have three options, basically. You can review this information and adopt the ordinance, thus approving the recommendation. You can review the information, and based on the information in the minutes, et cetera, you can find opposite of what the planning commission did, and you can overrule and you don't recommend it. Okay? Or you can have not a whole new trial type hearing with presentation of facts, but you could schedule a hearing where you can have an argument type hearing, where the pro or the con could argue for or against. We've never done that. Basically, the
Right.
council generally reviews the minutes and approves or disapproves the recommendation. But yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to be difficult with you, but
No, I
there have been cases where people have taken information extraneous to the process, council members or county commissioners extraneous to the process, and based their decision on that information. And the courts have reversed those decisions and remanded them for reconsideration based on the record. So that's the process.
Okay, any other discussion on this?
So, just to clear it up, legally, we have to follow a certain protocol, and then as long as we follow that protocol, we can base our decision off of, and go forward with one of the
You,
options, the scenarios that you just presented. So if we do a first reading,
Your first reading isn't binding you to anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the first reading, and then your second reading is when you would take your vote or make a decision as to what you wanted to do.
And that's why I recommended we go ahead and have the first reading tonight, give us a chance to review the minutes more thoroughly, and then at our next meeting, we would vote either for or against it.
I mean, since we're only meeting once a month,
Yeah.
we've got a month to
Sure.
do whatever is part of the process, review the record.
Any other comments about this issue? Because it will come up under the ordinances later in the meeting. Old business, St. Paul United Church of Christ, Churchill Drive Street assessment.
Okay.
Any new on that?
Actually, I included the original information, which was the memo that was presented to council at our last meeting, and the letters that were submitted on behalf of the church. I think where that issue was left at last month's meeting was we would continue to look through the record that we have available. see if there was any discovery of additional information. We've gone through all of our minutes. We've exhausted any outlet of what we have that we know we have. So we really don't have anything new to present from the staff level. I did call Dan Fowler and leave a message. I was hopeful that he would be here, since he brought it forward to this group. And I basically explained in the message to him that we have not discovered anything. I offered him the ability to come in and review all that while we have it pulled out. But we really don't have anything supporting that information any further than what was presented last month.
All right, thank you.
The assessments will stand then in lieu of anything else coming to light, I guess.
I mean, they made the request. I don't know if we need an action or an inaction. Is it denial, Jan?
I think you're not, by not approving the request, it's in substance a denial, but if you want to put it in the record and say that you're denying the request based on lack of information to the contrary, you could do that.
Shouldn't we?
I'll entertain a motion. If you'd like to make that, sure.
Yeah, I move that we put that into the record that there was no evidence to the contrary, and so the assessments will stand as they would for.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any other discussion?
Inaction is, I mean,
Well, I think they probably want a response to their request. That's why I was just thinking it would be good to put it in the record.
The other issue is we are moving forward with an apportionment ordinance which includes that property. Not that you couldn't grant relief to that at some point, but it is included in the apportionment ordinance.
Any other questions or discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Mueller? Mr. Mueller?
Just thinking.
No. Sorry.
I'm sorry, I need a little clarification on what we're voting.
Denial of the request to,
Waive assessments.
I mean, sort of a
Yes.
point of order, but as Ron pointed out, we're voting on the ordinance to levy the assessments. I mean, I don't know that we need to have a vote on it.
Oh, okay. I just thought it should be in the record,
Yeah.
that that particular issue that was before us has been resolved. And,
it works either way.
yeah.
Yeah, it's your pleasure.
Or if it's not necessary, skip it.
I would prefer just adopt the ordinance,
Okay, and
The
it's
ordinance speaks
included
for
in it,
itself.
that's true.
We had, they addressed us, we contemplated it, staff looked into it as best they possibly could, there was no evidence there. By passing adopting the ordinance, that,
Do you like to withdraw your motion?
I'll withdraw my motion.
And
Draw my second.
And Ron can call the
Okay, thank you all very much. Okay, next, old business is strategic planning visioning update.
Okay, really where we are, we all met in January as a group, and staff is recommending that we schedule meeting as a committee with maybe the whole, with the entire council to meet prior to our next meeting in March. The purpose being to continue the visioning strategic planning process. We've, at a staff level, we're in the process and have done some review of that, categorizing that, kind of paring it down, creating it into a method maybe moving forward. And obviously, council would have an opportunity to exhaust additional items that maybe would be desired to be included for consideration. We would be presenting information regarding costs, budgeting options, kind of a process moving forward, whether there's consulting, outside consulting, citizens groups, those types of things. So staff would be presenting all the options at council at that meeting. So staff is asking for council to set that committee meeting before next council meeting.
Does that work for everybody?
Absolutely, look forward to it.
Cool.
Yeah, how much time would there be? I mean, are we allowing for this?
45 minutes.
Just, okay, just regular committee meeting.
And then we can go from there and plan other meetings as necessary. Great, thank you.
do you need a motion for that, or do you good with that?
I think council will just,
I'll make executives, what is it? Executive order?
it would be, I mean, we'll advertise it, so as long as council is in agreement with that.
As long as you guys are okay with it, it's a done deal. Okay.
We will advertise it as such.
All right, Finance Committee report on disbursements.
Report of disbursements, January 19th through February 16th, 2016. General Fund, $321,455.85. Public Works KDOT Fund, $4,807. Reoccurring Debt Service Fund, $8,913.60. CBD Revitalization, $792.99. Waste fees, $70,934.50. Police and Fire Pension Fund, $1,871.23. Total, $408,775.17. We, the undersigned members of the Finance Committee, recommend that warrants numbered 301441 through 301570 be approved and the treasurer be authorized to issue checks for their payment. Mr. Mueller, chairperson, Mr. Peterman, member.
I'll entertain a motion.
To approve?
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Mueller? Mr. Bowman?
Aye.
Mr. Beazold?
Aye.
Mr. Peterman? Mr. Thompson?
All right, we're down to ordinance, resolutions, and orders. Ordinance 001, 2016.
Ordinance 001, 2016, an ordinance enacting and adopting a supplement to the Code of Ordinances for the City of Fort Thomas, Campbell County, Kentucky. American Legal Publishing Corporation has completed the 2015 supplement to the Code of Ordinances. Council will accept these updated sections in accordance with the changes of the law of Kentucky. This summary was prepared by Jan Seidenfaden, City Attorney for the City of Fort Thomas.
Move to approve?
Is there a second? Roll call, please.
Mr. Mueller? Mr. Bowman?
Aye.
Mr. Beazold?
Aye.
Mr. Peterman? Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Ordinance 002, 2016.
Summary of Ordinance 002, 2016, an ordinance amending Title III, Section 32.21E of the City of Fort Thomas, Kentucky Code of Ordinances by fixing the time of holding standing committee meetings of the Board of Council of the City of Fort Thomas, Campbell County, Kentucky. Title III, Section 32.21E of the city's Code of Ordinances shall be amended. Council standing committee meetings shall be held at the city building on the third Monday of each month, except in the months of June and September, when committee meetings shall be held on the first and third Mondays at 6:15 p.m. When the day for holding a committee meeting is a holiday, the committee meeting shall be held on the next day. This summary was prepared by Jan Seidenfaden, City Attorney for the City of Fort Thomas.
Motion, please.
Move to approve?
Second.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Mueller?
Aye.
Mr. Bowman?
Aye.
Mr. Beazold? Mr. Peterman? Mr. Thompson?
Okay, ordinance 003, 2016.
This is a summary of Ordinance 003, 2016, an ordinance confirming the city engineer's estimate of the cost of the improvement and certificate of apportionment for the improvement of Arlington Place from its intersection with Alexandria Pike, US 27, to its terminus, Burnett Ridge from its intersection with Lester Lane to its terminus, Churchill Drive from Newman Avenue West to the city's corporate boundary with the city of Newport, East Southgate Avenue from its intersection with North Fort Thomas Avenue to its terminus, and North Fort Thomas Avenue from its intersection with Bel Air Place to Covert Run Pike, all in the city of Fort Thomas, Campbell County, Kentucky, and all in accordance with the plans and specifications thereto, as submitted by the city engineer and as approved by the Board of Council, approving and levying a special assessment against the abutting property owners and providing for its payment, directing the city clerk to publish an abstract of this ordinance, and directing the city treasurer to prepare and distribute the assessment bills, requiring all abutting property owners to pay the improvement assessment. That special assessment rates are set out below per linear foot and fronting on listed streets, are assessed against said real estate and the owners thereof, see attached Exhibit A, at the stated cost per foot. Arlington Place, $10.14 per foot for the city and $10.14 for the property owner. Final cost $20.28. Burnett Ridge, $5.03 for the city, $5.03 for the property owner. Final cost $10.06. Churchill Drive, $15.86 for the city, and $10.57 for the property owner. Final cost $26.43. East Southgate Avenue, $7.51 for the city and $7.51 for the property owner. Final cost $15.02. North Fort Thomas Avenue, city cost $16.20 and property owner cost is $10.80. The final cost is $27. Payments for all improvements shall be due within 45 days of the publication of this ordinance, and any assessment that is not paid when due shall bear a penalty of 5% per annum. An additional 10% per annum penalty will be levied 31 days after the due date, and any unpaid assessment shall accrue 8% per annum interest, except for those property owners participating in the installment payment plan. A property owner may have the option to finance the payment of his or her assessment bill over a specified period of time if the total amount of the assessment is more than $400. Any interested property owner qualifying for the installment payment plan shall initiate this process by completing an installment agreement form with the city's Director of Finance within 30 days. The fee is $35. The summary was prepared by Jan Seidenbaden, City Attorney for the City of Fort Thomas.
Entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve.
Is there a second? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Muller? Mr. Bowman?
Aye.
Mr. Beazle? Mr. Peterman? Mr. Thompson?
Okay, ordinance 004, 2016.
It's a summary of ordinance 004, 2016, an ordinance amending the official zoning ordinance of the City of Fort Thomas, Campbell County, Kentucky, being ordinance number 016, 2007, enacted on May 21st, 2007, Article 10, Section 10.2, 10.2A, to allow adult daycare facilities as permitted uses within the general commercial zoning district. The Fort Thomas Planning Commission held a public hearing on December 16, 2015, and January 16, 2016, in regard to an amendment to the text of the official zoning ordinance to permit adult daycare facility as a permitted use within the general commercial zoning district. The Planning Commission has made a recommendation to council to adopt such an amendment. The summary was prepared by Jan Seidenbaden, City Attorney for the City of Fort Thomas.
And it's the first reading. Is there anything else to come before council? If not, meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Yeah.
I feel like radar.